All right, we're gonna do a quick one this morning before we get started here. Before I get my day started, woke up this morning and one of the first things that popped into my head, as ridiculous as it may sound, was this Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul pay-per-view that took place last night, and Eric and I did our weekly podcast yesterday 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Ringside Reporter Live podcast that Eric and I do every Sunday. And one of the questions that we had was if Logan Paul went the distance here, would this be a win for him? And we both agreed that, yeah, if Logan Paul went the distance in this fight, then it would virtually be a win for him, right? Because there's no way a guy with only 4 rounds of professional boxing experience, going up against arguably the greatest fighter of our era, greatest boxer of our era, who had like something like 349 professional rounds. There's no way this guy is supposed to go the distance. And the odds suggested as much, right? So the big question here is who really comes out of this event looking like a winner? Let's be honest. Floyd Mayweather allegedly had a guarantee of $10 million, right? And I guess they're both going to be getting a piece of the pay-per-view. We can only speculate how many pay-per-views this is going to do based off of the streaming and the illegal purchasing of these types of events. We already know that it is rampant right now in combat sports in the United States, that people are purchasing these events or not purchasing these events, excuse me. People are not purchasing these events and they are viewing these events illegally. And just about everybody that I spoke with yesterday had said that, yes, we are not going to pay for this. I had people actually sending me links, but true to form, the sick individual that I am, I purchased the event. I went out and purchased the event, and they got my money. And I can say whatever I want, whether if I want to say that it was worth it or not. But at the end of the day, I purchased it, so apparently it must have been worth it to me going in, because the curiosity factor always gets me. I wanted to see if Floyd Mayweather would go the distance with this young man, Logan Paul, or if he would take him out. I thought he would take him out in 7. Most people thought that Mayweather was going to knock him out. But once again, true to form, Mayweather did not live up to my expectations and most other people's expectations. And that may be, Beeb, why are you taking a shot? Well, at the end of the day, this isn't the first time that Floyd Mayweather's been in a big event and kind of underwhelmed. And this was definitely an underwhelming event last night. So if you ask me this morning, was this pay-per-view worth my money? I'm going to have to tell you no. But that's irrelevant, because going in to this event last night, I still purchased the event. So it doesn't matter. So this event was called Bragging Rights. So who really has bragging rights on Monday morning? The 26-year-old kid with 4 rounds of professional boxing experience, who went the distance with arguably the greatest boxer of our era and really did not get hurt at all. Whether or not Floyd was trying to hurt him, whether or not Floyd was carrying him, who knows? I suspect that maybe Floyd did obviously take it easy on him. He's not going to go at this kid like he would have gone at Manny Pacquiao or Canelo Alvarez. That's pretty obvious. But at the end of the day, the optics are what the optics are. We saw a mere novice go 8 rounds with the great Floyd Mayweather. And if I'm being honest here, I think it's a horrible look for Floyd Mayweather. The fact that this young kid with 4 rounds of boxing experience went the distance with him. He's supposed to get him out of there. He's supposed to knock him out. I don't care about how big Logan Paul is. I don't care how old Floyd Mayweather is. Um, you saw Logan Paul try to land shots on Floyd Mayweather, and they had virtually no effect. At no point in this fight was Floyd Mayweather ever stunned or buckled. And he's taking shots from a 200-pound man. So at the end of the day, um, if it's hard for me to even fathom that if Floyd Mayweather wanted to knock this young man out, he could have. But that's just my opinion. I'm just speculating here. But regardless of what I think, it's about what actually happened in that fight last night. The mere fact that Logan Paul went the full 8 rounds and took virtually no damage in that fight makes him look like a superstar this morning. He can go around saying that I went the distance. He can even go around saying that I won the fight if he wanted to. And his fans would probably believe him. His brother's out there saying that he won the fight. Um, if you're going to go by who landed more, let's look at the punch stats here. Not that the punch stats are the end all, the be all end all of a boxing match, because we always have been critical of the punch stats in the past, so we can't just conveniently use them when we want to. But sometimes, as I said, the punch stats do seem to get it right. They do have an accurate description on what we've seen in a lot of instances, just not always. So I'm going to take a look at them now. So as far as total punches go here, Mayweather threw 107 total punches and landed 43 of them. So he landed 40% of his punches. Logan Paul threw 217 punches and landed 28 of them, which he landed 12.9% of his punches. So Mayweather landed more shots, not a ton more, but he landed more shots, right? He landed 15 more punches than Logan Paul, right? He landed 15 more punches than Logan Paul. Basically landed around 2 more punches around than Logan Paul, right? Which is a great disparity there, right? So the fact that this was close on the punch stats, that Floyd Mayweather only landed 15 more punches than Logan Paul, I just think at the end of the day, I don't know what Floyd Mayweather was trying to accomplish here. Obviously, he wanted to make a quick buck. Guaranteed, reportedly, he was guaranteed 10 million for this fight. That was the latest reports that I got. I don't know how much he's going to get on the back end. I just can't see him making a ton on the back end, because I just don't believe that a lot of people purchased this fight legally. So, at the end of the day, I don't see how this is a win in any regard for Floyd Mayweather. I think it's kind of a bad look, the fact that Logan Paul did go the distance with you, whether or not that was by design or not. The optics are what the optics are. The final stats are what the final stats are, right? And Logan Paul threw 73 jabs. Floyd Mayweather threw 14 jabs, right? So he landed 7. And if you want to be honest here, this is pretty much along the lines of what Mayweather did throw in his career. He never threw a lot of punches. He never actually threw a ton of jabs in fights. The one thing that Mayweather did land more of too is body punches. But once again, Logan Paul threw 144 and Mayweather threw 93. So if you're going to score this fight, if you were actually going to score this fight round by round, An argument could be made that Mayweather probably edged it, or it could have been a draw, to be perfectly honest with you. But the fact that that Logan Paul finished this fight on his feet is ridiculous. H Money, uh, that's not an objective comment, bro. Logan Paul didn't get destroyed last night, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You got to watch that. I mean, if you're watching that event, he didn't get destroyed. I mean, like I said, my opinion, there's going to be the Mayweather fans on there. I'm not here to change your mind, bro. All I'm here to do is tell you what I saw. All I can do is tell you what I saw. Logan Paul was never hurt in this fight. He was never buzzed in this fight. He was never even buckled in this fight. That's a bad look. He's not supposed to go 8 rounds with the greatest boxer of our era. A guy with 4 rounds of professional boxing experience is not supposed to go the distance with the guy who has almost 400 rounds of professional boxing experience. H Money, again, he would not beat all the top fighters today. That's ridiculous. There's no way he would beat an Errol Spencer or Terrence Crawford, and I don't even think you believe that. We got to stop, man. We got to stop. We got to stop with the tribalism. We got to stop with the fanboy stuff. Let's just call it like it is. Let's jump off the teams, man, and just let's look at what we're seeing, bro. We got to stop riding with fighters, man. These guys, they're not paying our bills, bro. They're not paying our bills. They're not doing shit for us. They're not giving us the fights we want. There's no need to ride these fighters' dicks anymore, guys. I'm gonna be 52 in December. I'll be damned if I'm gonna ride another grown man's fucking cock. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. I don't give a fuck how much access they give me. I'm not riding another man's jock. Not doing it. Not gonna do it. So, like I said, this is a loss. This is a loss for Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion. The fact that a guy that was so inexperienced, and shout out to Logan Paul. He was in phenomenal shape. He did take the fight seriously. We can't knock him for that. Logan Paul did what he was supposed to do. I just don't think Mayweather did what he was supposed to do. Now, it was only an exhibition. Mayweather wasn't going out there to hurt him. Well, that ain't the way it was being sold to us. I mean, if they actually had odds on this fight, right? They actually had odds on this fight. And the odds suggested that Logan Paul was going to get knocked out. And he did not get knocked out. So, in my opinion, this was not a win for Floyd Mayweather. I don't think this does anything to add to Floyd Mayweather at all. And obviously, this isn't a fight that people are going to look at and judge Floyd Mayweather's legacy on this. But again, when you say legacy, people look at a fighter's legacy. They don't always look at just his boxing record. I've said this before. People look at a fighter as a person too. They look at what he's done outside the ring. Obviously, Muhammad Ali is a prime example of that. He's known and loved all over the world, not for what he done only in the boxing ring, but for also what he's done outside the ring. And what Floyd Mayweather has done, his image outside the ring, a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like him. He's had some issues outside the ring. Said a lot of controversial things, the way he carries himself. That's fine. I mean, you either love or you hate him. I'm not here to tell people what they should love and what they should hate. But at the end of the day, I think the only person that won yesterday was Logan Paul. I think the fans lost. I think Floyd Mayweather takes an L by letting this kid go the distance with him, whether it was designed or not, whether this is what he wanted at the end of the fight. The fact that this kid went 8 rounds with the great Floyd Mayweather and did not get hurt at all in this fight, did not really even look like he was getting outclassed, right? He fought Mayweather pretty much on even terms last night and went to 8 rounds, right? And he comes out looking like the winner, in my opinion. So you could say what you want. Beeb, it was only an exhibition. Floyd Mayweather wasn't trying to knock him out. You can all that could possibly be true. All that could possibly be true. I'm not here to even argue against that. Even if this is what Floyd Mayweather wanted, if this was the end result that Floyd Mayweather wanted, it still doesn't make him look any better on Monday morning. People are going to look at this and say, damn, how the fuck did Logan Paul go 8 rounds with the great Floyd Mayweather? That's what they're going to say. Whether it's an exhibition or not, there were odds on this fight. Knockouts were allowed in this fight, right? So you could have won this fight by knockout, either man, right? Either man could have won this fight by knockout if they were able to do so. And everyone that I talked to before this fight, about 99.9% of the people said that Logan Paul was not going to finish this fight. He was going to get knocked out by TKO or KO, whatever the case may be. He was not supposed to finish this fight. Nobody expected that to happen. But he did. But he did. You know, and then you could look at this whole pay-per-view card. The Chad Johnson fight was that was what it was. That wasn't a great fight. I think Luis Arias, that was a great fight. That was a good fight. That was a big upset. I wasn't expecting him to win that fight. But once again, that's not a pay-per-view quality fight. Him versus Jarrett Hurd. It's not a pay-per-view quality fight. Jarrett Hurd looked flat. Both guys are coming off a 2-year layoff. But Arias rose to the occasion. Make an argument that's the best he's ever looked in a fight. At least in recent years, right? Huge upset. I think he was like a 3-1 underdog in the fight. Very moving speech at the end of the fight. People were telling him his career was over, that he had to go out and get a real job. So that was a very moving moment for me. That really tugged at my heartstrings there. I gotta be honest. Maybe I'm a softie, whatever the case may be. But you can make an argument that was probably the highlight of the event by Arias upsetting Jarrett Hurd. Going into that fight with a new trainer, coming off a long layoff, fighting at a weight class that is probably not his best weight class. He's more suited for 154. So I don't even know if Jarrett Hurd can go back down to 154. I don't know. Jarrett Hurd says he believes he won the fight. I think if you score it objectively, it's really hard to give that fight to Jarrett Hurd, in my opinion. If you score that fight objectively. So to be honest, that was the highlight of the card, in my opinion. If I'm going to review this pay-per-view, was it worth the $50? And you really can't say beforehand if it's worth it or not, because sometimes you pay for a pay-per-view going in and you're like, this isn't a pay-per-view quality fight. And you get pleasantly surprised that the card ends up being better than you thought it would be. This wasn't the case last night. This card was actually worse. It didn't even, it went below my expectations, to be honest with you. It went below my expectations. I wasn't pleasantly surprised with anything that went on last night. I was actually let down. Was I mad at the end of the card? Nah, because I bought it. So how could I be mad if I was the one that put my money up? How could I really talk shit about the event if I bought it, right? Beeb, you bought it. You always buy these events, Beeb. You have no right. You're in no position to criticize any pay-per-view because according to you, Beeb, you buy them all, right? And I do buy them all. So I'm a sap. But if I'm going to be objective, I'm not going to go out there and I wasn't going out and telling people. Normally when there's a great event that I'm really excited about, I'll go out there and tell my friends, hey man, you know, you may want to think about buying this event on Saturday. It's going to be a great. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that for this event. I couldn't do that for this event. I just couldn't. You know, I don't know if I need I don't know if I need a financial advisor or if I need a better therapist. You know, question is, Showtime's going to take a look at this. Now that crowd was empty. It was empty. Now obviously it was raining out, whatever, but that crowd was, to me, it appeared. And again, this is just the optics. This is just the visual. You couldn't even hear, like, no one was even cheering. Like when I watched the Daniel Dubois card on Saturday, that place was fucking packed. The crowd was lit. It was crazy, right? Everyone, the crowd was singing songs. It was amazing, right? When I watched this event yesterday, it was like nobody was there. There was no cheering. There was nothing. There was nothing. That crowd looked like it was far less than even half filled, right? And as I said, I repeat, people were sending me links to streams, but the ridiculous loser that I am in life, I still bought it. I had several opportunities to watch the event for free. I still bought it. I still bought it, right? So who the fuck am I? I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I bought the event when I could have watched it for free. All my friends, all the people that I talk to, I'm not going to mention names. I don't like to name drop, put people on blast. Everybody was sending me links to this fight that I could have watched it without paying for it, and I still paid for it anyways. I'm not even sure this fight does over 200,000 pay-per-view buys, if it even does that, because judging by, like I said, the feedback on this event, I don't think anybody paid for it. I really don't. I really don't. So like I said, will Showtime continue to put on these events if they're not going to be as well received as anticipated? Everybody knows that the legal market for watching these events has grown immensely. Fewer and fewer people are paying for these events. So what is the end game here? What's the plan here for Showtime by continuing to put on events like this when you have DAZN, who's virtually giving you events that are much better than this, and you only have to pay $8 or $9 a month, and probably like $2 or $3 if you're in the UK. I think DAZN, as much as I was skeptical of the model, I think DAZN has really, really made great strides, and they're cornering this market right now. Whereas you have people like Showtime who continue to put on these less than stellar events. And I think as time goes on, less and less people are going to purchase these events when they can watch it illegally. That's what I see happening here. And what did Showtime really do? What did they accomplish by putting on this event? And not only that, what did Showtime accomplish by signing Jake Paul? How many people are going to buy that Jake Paul Tyrone Woodley fight? How many people are going to watch that illegally, right? So I don't see how Showtime is turning a profit here. I just don't see it. I don't understand the logic here, the business model here. I don't understand the plan. If even Floyd Mayweather said when he was asked, how well do you think this fight's going to do, right? How well do you think this fight's going to do? He even said out of his own mouth, well, you know how it is now with all people who watch these fights illegally now. So I don't know how well it's going to do stuff. I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, but even he was skeptical of the success of this event because of all the illegal purchases out there. Not even purchases, excuse me, all the illegal ways that people can view the fight for free, view the event for free. Even he is aware of that, which is pretty hard for anyone not to be aware of that. But yeah, I mean, Mayweather really never bragged about how well this fight was going to do. All he talked about was the money he was getting, how he was robbing. He didn't only rob the fans here. You see, because he's basically saying this is a legal bank robbery. So he's basically telling you that this isn't that he's robbing you. And this is another reason why it's so hard to like this guy. Imagine someone selling you an event and telling you, I'm basically robbing you. It's basically this how stupid he is when he makes statements like that. He's basically telling you that the fight isn't worth it. He's basically telling you not to buy it, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you buy it or not at this point because he's making $10 million to basically get in a ring and fuck around with a YouTuber. So he doesn't care if you buy it or not. He doesn't care if he basically was saying that, not in so many words, that who gives a fuck if it does well or not. I'm getting paid, and that's all he cares about. So for Showtime to continue to showcase this guy, right? After him saying those things, like he's basically telling the network, who gives a fuck who buys this? That's not a way to promote the event by telling people, hey, I'm here to rob you. That's like going to a car dealership and trying to buy a car, and the guy selling you the car, hey man, only an idiot would buy this car. This is a fucking this would be a steal for me. Like I'd be anyone that buys this car, man, they're an idiot. That's basically that's basically the equivalent of what Mayweather said. Oh, why would you go it's ridiculous for for him to say that? Oh, this is a legal bank robbery, meaning I'm getting paid to do virtually nothing, right? So if you're basically saying that it's going to be such a one-sided fight, right? That's what you're basically telling everybody, that this is a legal bank robbery. This is I'm getting paid for free here to do nothing. So you're basically telling people that you're not that this event that you're involved in is not worth the bang for their buck, right? And I'm an idiot and I still buy it after all that, right? But Showtime has to look at that and they got to say to themselves, is this the message we want to send, that we're trying to rob the public? We're knowingly putting out a subpar product in the hopes that we could sucker in naive people, because that's all this is. And not in so many words, that's what you're telling the casual fan, right? But I still buy it anyways. I still buy it anyways. So I'm part of the problem too, right? I'm part of my own hypocrisy. Really. I'm part of my own hypocrisy. Right? It's like that scene in The Godfather when the senator's sitting there talking shit to Michael Corleone. Michael Corleone says, Senator, you and I are both part of the same hypocrisy. That's what he said to him, right? That's what he said to him. I'm part of the same hypocrisy as well. I'm a sick individual. So I think, and I have to be honest here, I don't see how this is going to be sustainable for Showtime to put on events like this. I don't see how this Jake Paul fight is going to really attract legitimate buyers. I don't think if they put that, they got to put that's obviously going to be on pay-per-view. I don't see that fight doing well and selling a lot of pay-per-views. I just don't see it doing well. So that's the thing. I don't know what the plan is here for Showtime. I don't know what the end game here is. At least when they signed Mayweather to that huge 6-fight deal, they were able to make all the money back on the Canelo fight and the Pacquiao fight. I'm curious to see what is the light at the end of the tunnel here. What's the light at the end of the tunnel here? No, there is not. There is not a pay-per-view that I have not purchased. There is not a pay-per-view that I have not purchased. No, there isn't. So like I said, I'm part of my own hypocrisy. Right? I have no right to complain. But if I'm looking at this objectively, I don't think this is a win for the fans. I don't think this is a win for boxing. I don't think this is a win for Mayweather. I think everybody lost last night except for Logan Paul and Jake Paul, right? Whether or not the events do well or not, these guys are still getting substantial guarantees. If Floyd Mayweather is getting a $10 million guarantee, if Logan Paul is getting a couple $1 million guarantee, if Jake Paul is getting a couple $1 million guarantee, these guys are winning. They don't give a fuck who buys it and who doesn't. I'm sure the Paul brothers care who buys it or not. But even then, all this does is further add to their social media following. These guys have already won in life. All this is icing on the cake. They've already won in life. They've already overachieved in life. Right? You can even argue that even though they haven't made as much money as Floyd Mayweather, when they turn 42, they'll probably have a larger net worth than he does, and they won't be really taking the punishment that he had to take. Not that he took a lot of punishment in the ring, but these guys are virtually fighting fights where they're in no danger of getting hurt. I mean, there's always a danger of getting hurt, but the danger of them getting hurt based on the opposition they faced is very minimal. Whereas Floyd had to fight some killers in his day, right? He had to go through all those grueling training camps and go through a lot of those tough fights. These guys are basically fighting smokers and really not putting themselves in a position where they can get hurt terribly here. The odds of them getting hurt based off of the odds of what Floyd had to face in his career are much less of a chance of them getting hurt than Floyd. So Floyd really had to work hard for his money. You could say what you want of what happened towards the end, but when he first started out, he had a rough road, and he overcame that rough road. These guys really never had a rough road, and at the end of the day, for what they're doing and the amount of danger or whatever they're doing, right? These guys aren't killing themselves to make a lot of money, where Floyd had to kill himself to get to the position where he's at right now. These guys really didn't have to kill themselves. I mean, obviously they were very smart. They're very smart, right? They made a lot of good moves, right? They're great at marketing, but from a physical standpoint, they're not really killing themselves. I'm not taking away the fact that they've gotten in shape and they're training or whatever. I'm not saying that that's not a factor here, but they're not taking the same road as a regular boxer took in their career. All those grueling moments in the gym and having to climb the ladder and fight tough fights. These guys are making far greater money fighting much lesser opposition than a regular professional boxer does. If you look at what Logan Paul made yesterday and then look at what Tommy Fury made on Saturday, right? Ask yourself, who really had the tougher assignment? Who really who was the true winner in that situation? Who would you rather be? Would you rather be Logan Paul or Tommy Fury in that situation? Tommy Fury probably made pennies on the dollar. With all due respect, I'm not saying he didn't make anything, but compared to what Logan Paul made, right? And Logan Paul didn't even fight in a sanctioned event, right? So you have to ask yourself, these guys are killing it. These guys are winning. These guys are winning. When you have guys like Jake Paul and Logan Paul fighting, they're not even fighting real boxers. And then you have a guy like Tommy Fury who's fighting another registered boxer. When you look at what Tommy Fury made compared to what Logan Paul made, compared to what Jake Paul made, these guys are winning. These guys are geniuses, right? But like I said, I don't think Showtime's winning. I don't think the fans are winning. And I don't think Floyd Mayweather won last night. The fact that he allowed this kid, not even the fact that he allowed this kid, the fact that this kid went 8 rounds and took no damage, it is what it is. All right, guys, I gotta run. I gotta get this day started. I gotta head off to work. I just wanted to bust out this video real quick before I started to get busy. And I wouldn't have probably had time to make this video during the day. So just want to thank everyone in the chat for joining me. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments in the chat. Do you think this is a win or a loss for Floyd Mayweather? And do you think Logan Paul comes out looking the better of the two? And do you actually think that the fans lost here? And do you think Showtime lost here? Let me know your comments in the chat, in the comment section. Let me know your comments in the chat. Let me know. All right, Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. And maybe Eric and I will jump on later and do a further recap of this event. And it's ridiculous that we're even giving this event as much attention as we are. But this just goes to show you how sick of an individual I am, and how the state of boxing is right now. I mean, we have some issues in the state of boxing right now, but it is what it is. All right, Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.